All right. It's a Pixel Thing asks, do you collect for the Amiga computer? Now, he's not talking about the Amiga CD32 console.
That's something I'm looking for. I want one of those, but wow.
Well, so GameSack recently just did a video on...
That video was, yeah, I saw that video.
I know. And I was like, ooh, I kind of want to collect for that.
It's like an obscure system, but it just seems like something cool to have. Everybody should have one obscure system in their library.
We were just talking about this earlier.
Yes.
You know,
and that's the one I want to get, at least.
Yeah. And so to answer your question, I don't own an Amiga computer right now. I've never owned an Amiga computer. When I was a kid, it was pretty much the Commodore 64. You had the Atari ST, and then you had the Amiga, were the sort of home computers. Was the Amiga pretty popular though? Out of the system? You know, where I lived in a small town, maybe 2 people had an Amiga. So it wasn't really popular, but it was a really nice computer. It was just expensive, and you just really had to be committed to it. You know what I mean?
Like dedicated fan to it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But it was, I mean, where I lived, it was hard enough to get Commodore 64 games, and that's a really popular system. So for me, I always looked at the Amiga going, wow, I'd love to own that. You know, it's like someone who owns a Ferrari. It's like, ooh, I'd love to own a Ferrari. I just can't own a Ferrari. You know, I can't afford one. Wow. But that said, in my collection, in here and also over on the other side of this wall, I have Amiga games simply that have just kind of come to me because often the insides of these old PC games are identical except for the floppy disk. So when I'm collecting big box PC games, I don't care if it's Amiga version because that manual, that map, everything else that was in there is almost identical to the IBM Commodore version. Okay. It's just the floppy disk is different, and I don't really care about that. So, well, let me ask you this: with the Amiga system, is it a system that you could have have friends play and have a good time? Like you're having a party, you can bust out the Amiga and have a great time with it. Is it that good system like that? Yes, the Amiga is a really nice computer, and it has a lot of really great games. I mean, it was really powerful in the 80s, and there's a lot of games that got ported over to consoles that actually started on Amiga. Okay. Speedball and some of those games, like from the Bit Brothers, are some examples of that. Okay. There are some platformers that ended up on the Genesis that actually got their start on the Amiga, and the Amiga is the better version by far. I think James Pond is one of them. Yeah, there's a lot of those, especially in Europe. In Europe, the Amiga was really popular for some reason. So nowadays, though, I actually would like to own an Amiga because and it's one of those things kind of like where I'd love to go back and see what I was missing. You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm interested in looking back at that too. I don't know. I just like to type it on the computer. I'm just... Well, you'd have to really commit, right? Yeah, really be committed to it. Especially getting into 80s computers because... you do have to learn about the hardware. You do have to learn about the operating system. You'd have to floppy disks. There's the chance that they might be damaged. Over time. Do they get damaged easily over time? Yeah, because they're susceptible to magnets. And also moisture and stuff. And it's just been so long that. It's possible that you could have some that don't work or whatever, but it's not impossible to collect for. Actually, I've been thinking of jumping into it. So okay, so it's a fine time to start now. Yeah. Okay. For me, it's just a matter of space because I really only have room for one computer over there. Right now, it's my Commodore 128 is set up, but in order for me to get an Amiga, that would have to be taken away because I just don't have I don't have another. Well, what kind of boxes do the games come in? Are you going for like the games complete in a box or just the games? I would prefer complete a box because I love that stuff. Definitely. But you can get loose floppy disks Amiga for way cheaper. I mean, sometimes you can buy them in bulk, and that's the way to go. Okay. They won't look as good, but... And back then, they had physical copy protection, so you might get the game, and you won't have the little spindle thing or the little... Oh, wow. You might not be able to play it, because it'll say, turn to page 6, paragraph 2. And I remember that. Yeah. I'm doing that stuff. Wow. Okay. Yeah, but the good news is you can go online, and you can download all that stuff. Okay. Yeah. They still got the access out there. Anyways, great question. Thank you.